Lots and lots of games over the weekend. I'm going to concentrate on two with an instant reaction, and we'll start with my thoughts on the Cowboys and the Eagles. I had predicted on Fox and iHeartRadio on Friday, 27-20 Philadelphia. I thought they were the better team. It's a standalone game. It's at home, and it's a backup Cooper Rush, and it ends up being 26-17. The game looked a lot like I thought it would, where Philadelphia dominates the first half, the crowd's a factor, play downhill, and the Cowboys just don't have the weaponry to come back and win. When I looked at this game, I think Philadelphia is the better team. Maybe Dak makes it a little closer, but I've said before I don't see a huge gulf between Dak and Cooper Rush in terms of just distributing the rock. It is, though, with two losses now and the Eagles at 6-0, you could say it feels somewhat likely Dallas. I know it's early, but the Cowboys are now playing for a wild card spot, and I'll give you an example why. So when you watch Philadelphia tonight, they're pretty explosive offensively with excellent line play. They're going to control the line of scrimmage against a lot of teams. They're going to take the lead on a lot of teams because it's a very unique offense, one you don't face on your schedule that runs that many RPOs. So we said this about Lamar Jackson early in his career. He was hard to face because you couldn't duplicate him at practice. So Philadelphia's got a powerful offense and a very unique offense. But I'm gonna read the next 11 teams Philadelphia plays, because I believe if you look at their big plays and their productivity, time of possession, you got to score points to beat Philadelphia. Here's the Eagles' next 11 opponents. Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett. Houston, the Texans, Davis Mills. Washington and Wentz. Indy sputtering every week to score. Green Bay, that does not have a number one or a two receiver. Tennessee, the Giants, the Bears, the Saints, the Giants. There's not one elite offense in that group. Dallas is the toughest opponent they'll face that will challenge their defense, and that's over 2 months away. So of those 11 offenses they face, I'm talking rookie quarterbacks, washed up quarterbacks, old quarterbacks, quarterbacks with no number one receivers, and Daniel Jones twice, who we have no idea if the Giants after this year want him to be quarterback. So the Eagles have a 2-game lead in division on the Cowboys, and they could lose the Dallas game. Now, I will say this, looking at the Cowboys schedule, the NFC does not have a lot of great offenses, so it's not like the Cowboys face a lot offensively. Philadelphia again, Detroit off a bye next, and then Minnesota. But of the 11 they have left, 3 are high-powered offenses. Dallas does have a lot in a very open NFC outside of Philadelphia. Dallas has some things you'd want to have going down the stretch of a football season. A veteran quarterback, a legit pass rush, an elite corner, an active linebacking core, 2 very solid running backs, an improving offensive line from 3 weeks ago. Their weapons are really okay. CeeDee Lamb can be spectacular. Michael Gallup can disappear. Their weapons are okay, little below what I'd want. But there's a lot of things here I like about Dallas. I don't think they have a chance to be a great team. Dak makes them better. What worries me is something we saw in the second quarter. When CeeDee Lamb caught that ball and stretched for a first down, Mike McCarthy didn't challenge it. The lack of game awareness by Mike McCarthy is stunning after all these years. I'd get that for Nathaniel Hackett. I'd get it for Brian Daboll in New York. It's like, Mike, you've been a head coach for 15 years in this league. You got to know when to challenge. So there's a lot of things to like if you're a Cowboy fan. The schedule works in your favor, but I think Dallas is right now, as long as Jalen Hurts stays healthy and most of the linemen for the Eagles, I think Dallas is going to be competing with 7 or 8 teams for a wild card spot. The Giants, the Rams, Niners, Seattle. Seattle's offense is pretty interesting. Minnesota, Green Bay, and Tampa and Atlanta. I did predict Atlanta would give the Niners trouble. I will tell you this. I don't know how good Atlanta is, but Arthur Smith is really clever. He is engineering and manufacturing big plays with that Atlanta offense. It is coaching. They're still in a rebuilding process. They get Ridley back next year. Keep your eye on Atlanta. They're one of the surprise teams in the league. We thought they were a tanking team. We thought it was Seattle, Atlanta tanking. Atlanta can score. Atlanta is moving the football. So Philadelphia won. Philadelphia is the better team. They've seized control of the division. And if they're healthy, I think the Giants and the Cowboys battle for one wild card spot. This morning, today, tonight, this minute, I would take Dallas. I think they have more offensive firepower on the perimeter. Dallas would beat. I think that pass rush, Daniel Jones, limitations. Giants feel a little bit like a one-person offense, Saquon Barkley. But, there's 3 wild card spots open. Dallas is going to be battling 7-8 teams for that wild card spot. So earlier in the day, the classic matchup, which was lower scoring, and isn't this always the case? You expect a fireworks show. The defenses hear that all week. The coaches hear it all week. And instead it was Buffalo beating Kansas City 24-20. I'm going to read you the box score. I know this is fascinating, but just to show you how even these teams are. I have no definitive opinion on either team. They're just both really well coached and exceptionally quarterbacked. But just listen to this. 3.5 hours of football. The Bills end up with 318 passing yards. The Chiefs, 319. Yards per play, Buffalo, 6.2. Kansas City, 6.3. First downs, Bills, 26, Chiefs, 23. Third down, identical, both 4 for 11. Time of possession, nearly identical. 29 minutes for the Chiefs, 31 minutes for Buffalo. There's not a lot that separate these teams. They could play 10 times, and somebody's going to get a fumble break. There's going to be a big holding call. I thought Buffalo had to overcome an egregiously bad miss by the officials on the Chris Jones trip that wasn't called. That was a really, really bad miss. You get that at home, maybe not on the road. So I thought the bad call of the day went against the Bills. But the way I look at Mahomes and Josh Allen, Greg Cosell said this on Fox Sports on Thursday. I said, who's better? You look at all the film. He said it's close, but Allen's probably more talented. To wit, he jumped over a Kansas City Chief to get a crucial first down. But the league now is moved. We all know this. Even Nick Saban now couldn't keep Tennessee out of the 50s. You can't stop anybody. That as the league has become so much more quarterback-centric, what I'm about to say, I didn't feel a year ago, and I do today. I felt coming into this season, Lamar Jackson, Herbert, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Deshaun Watson eventually, Derek Carr. I just thought there were so many talented quarterbacks. But watching Allen and Mahomes this year, I feel like they've separated from the league. I really feel like Brady's going through a divorce. He's distracted. This week he missed a practice, went to a wedding, flew a private jet to a game. Stafford had another pick six. Jalen Hurts has played really well, but there's some size limitations. I feel like Mahomes and Allen have separated from the league. And that's tier one. And then there's about 10 to 12 guys in tier two. Bottom of that's Garoppolo, maybe, Jalen Hurts. Middle of that, top of that, it'll be, Brady and Burrow and Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. But when you watched Ali Frazier, or when you watched, McEnroe and Connors, there is no definitive statement. It's what surface are they playing on? Is this guy better on grass? This guy better on hard court? The fact that Buffalo won at Arrowhead, and the last time they played, led at Arrowhead with 13 seconds to go. Home field, to me, If they played 10 times, I'd probably take a 5-5 split, maybe a slight edge to Kansas City because of Andy Reid's play calling. But, in this one, what was interesting is Buffalo actually engineered a little bit of a consistent run game, and Kansas City did not. And I think as these two deliver haymakers over the next 10 years, that it's always something you don't predict that becomes crucial. And I thought today was another example that Buffalo engineered a little bit more consistent of a run game, takes a little pressure off Josh Allen, who I thought really was off in the first quarter. Everything was just off. Stuff out into the flat, little flip passes, 8-10 yards, everything was off. But there were these moments where he got a little help from the run game, makes it a little easier, and that can be the difference. But I could sit and watch the Bills and the Chiefs play over and over and over again. I felt coming into this season, the top of the AFC was much better than the top of the NFC. And what I really think now is Kansas City and Buffalo are just in this group. And then everybody else in the league is below them, with Philadelphia being at the top of that second group. Philadelphia right now, I feel like everything's rolling. But you saw the difference when they lost left tackle Lane Johnson. For about 45 minutes on TV, it was not the same. Dallas scored, 17 straight points? So, slight edge to Buffalo this weekend. They were favored by 2.5. The odds makers had it right. The slightly better team. But they'll meet again. I mean, they're going to meet again. The other thing that I wanted to concentrate on these two games. But, the other thing that sort of is jumping out to me is we're getting, over the next few weeks, close to the trade deadline. And I'll tell you a piece that's going to be interesting is Christian McCaffrey. Carolina's obviously awful. If Carolina's stubborn and asks for a first-round pick, they won't get it. But boy, would he make a difference with Buffalo? Would he make a difference with Tampa? McCaffrey would be the ideal trade deadline grab, and here's why. Because he wouldn't fundamentally change Tampa's offense. He wouldn't fundamentally change Buffalo's offense. He would just add an element to it. So some of these teams that have multiple playmakers, if you could throw in 6 to 8 touches a game in Buffalo with Christian McCaffrey, wow. Or Brady gets Christian McCaffrey, 4 swing passes, 5, couple bubble screens, couple of handoffs. McCaffrey is a classic trade deadline pop player, right? You don't even have to have a weakness in an area with McCaffrey. He could just give you 70 yards a weekend. Now, for a team like the Rams, they may have to overpay because they're really struggling to move the chains. But my guess is, listen, if I was Carolina and you look at that Tampa roster, give me a draft pick and give me one of your 6 receivers I don't have. Very interesting. McCaffrey is a trade piece at the deadline. Somebody's going to make. And what's interesting is you get to the top of this league, the Kansas Cities, the Philadelphias, the Buffaloes. You start getting into this rarefied air. You're battling other GMs. You want to keep him away from other teams. Kansas City, last thing in the world they want is Christian McCaffrey in Buffalo. Like they're struggling to stop him now in crucial situations. Keep your eye on McCaffrey. I think I'd make a run. If I was Buffalo, Tampa, I'd go in. Philadelphia, absolutely. I would consider a first-round pick. All right, don't forget, a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, Darius Slay, a new member of the Volume, reaction tonight from Philadelphia's win over the Cowboys. Welcome to the team. Big play, Slay. We'll talk soon.